So we've come a long way in the discussion about what a genuine star being, alien, is, and what a fake alien is, that they exist. And I think I'm one of the few people who's actually introduced the idea of a fake alien, because before it was not a topic I ever heard about. In fact, people believed all kinds of things about all these different alien groups. And it was a bit of a jump for me to introduce the idea that some aliens are fake. And I talked about some of the cases, and I made some of the situations and some of the aliens, and I made a case against the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Orions, and their ilk. Now, there are too many fake aliens, and there could be a growing number of fake aliens, even new types of aliens, star beings, that are even more advanced, that may even arrive in back-engineered spacecraft, that may look human, non-human, hybrid. But these will be under the dominion of the cabal, of the black projects. And anything of the cabal, of the black projects, is against humanity. So that is the critical juncture we're talking about here. The fake aliens are connected, derived, engineered by the cabal, this second civilization that we've discussed, right? That this more advanced civilizations living on the planet, but separate from the rest of us. And there's the genuine Stelan, the genuine star being, the genuine civilization from another planet that is here to assist, that is here to help, to teach. Because Earth, as we've discussed, Earth is going through this transition from the dark ages, from one solar system into many solar systems, from one galaxy into many galaxies. We are entering the societies of other galaxies, right? So we are growing as a species, as a civilization. And that has been suppressed, that has been repressed and censored and blocked for many decades, even centuries. Because the second civilization doesn't want the entire planet to wake up to the inevitable, the indisputable fact that we are not alone in the universe, that we've been visited by other civilizations from other planets. Hundreds of civilizations, thousands of civilizations have visited, have interacted to some degree, have influenced, have shared knowledge or information, ideas, technologies, have assisted, have even rescued in times of crisis our civilization without our knowledge of it, and we've turned some of that into myths and legends and legacies and stories. We are at this transition now with this, we're in this process of disclosure where the cabal wants to control the narrative, right? He or she who controls the narrative controls the earth, controls what happens next. So because the disclosure cannot be stopped, because people are waking up too fast, their only alternative is to control the disclosure narrative. And that means the only way to do that, if we're going to see genuine Stelans, is for them to present a fake Stelan, a fake alien, an engineered alien. So today I want to add a little more detail to help you be able to distinguish between a real alien and a fake alien. Because it's going to get more difficult. That's the point. It's not going to be as obvious. It's not going to be as easy. Because they've gotten very good over the years. They've learned a lot. Now, so the society's been educated, right? You've been educated. So these operatives have followed that education, that release of knowledge. And they follow, for example, they follow my work. So they know my talking points. They know what I'm talking about. So when they bring someone in, they're going to borrow some of my knowledge and the knowledge of others, and they're going to create these experts, these aliens that fit within an acceptable paradigm. But they will be fake. Remember, they've been studying, they have all the information. These guys they're in intelligence, they're in analysis, psychological operations. They are very smart, they're very good at psychological manipulation, at mass media manipulation. They're very good at it. So we need to be able to distinguish between a fake alien and a real alien. Now, let me give you a little bit of backstory. Let's go back 13 years when I was first waking up. Why is this important? Because when I was first waking up, I was not able to discern between a genuine and a fake alien. In fact, I didn't know there were fake aliens. So I had no discernment ability. So anytime I saw something that looked like an alien, if I interact with the little gray people, let's say, the little grays, if I interact with the little grays and then a fake little gray shows up, I could not distinguish between the real and the fake. To me, they're both real because I was not aware that there were fake ones. B, I couldn't tell the difference because I was still in that early phase. Now, after many years of training and practice, I can discern. So they don't use those tactics. They don't use the same tactics on me. They use more advanced methods of manipulation. There are more advanced methods of manipulation. But in the beginning, so I'll give you a very, this is what happened, and this is a very basic manipulation tool they used. So 13 years ago, they had the cabal, you know, these secret operations, these secret military bases. They had a technology that they can beam a hologram into a location, a person's home. This technology was given to them by genuine alien groups. And it was modified so they could beam a weak hologram. Now, let's put all this together. They had a technology which is classified. They could beam a technology into your room, into your home, and then you could see a hologram. Part two is they had been interacting with genuine aliens, star beings. They knew about the little grays. So they create an image of a little gray and they project the little grays coming in to my apartment. And I had this which I saw with my naked eye. It was not a dream. I was not under any inducement. This was like naked eye, but it was kind of faint. It was presented in a way that these shimmering little I think it was three little grays. You know, the little grays are about 3 feet tall or 4 feet tall. 3 or 4 feet tall. And they have these big eyes, and they have grayish skin, almost like a fish, like a seal. And they appeared in my bachelor suite at the time. And this followed a visit by actual little grays who had interacted with me. They would often visit. Now I wasn't able to discern the difference. So the genuine grays come in. Let's call them grays, just for sake of discussion. Let's call them little grays, little gray people, and we have an interaction, right? They teach me something. They leave, and a moment later, this hologram shows up with the little grays. Accompanying the hologram was some kind of psionic or psychotronic attack, which is like a voice, like a not telepathy, but a technological voice, saying we are evil, we are evil grays, something very rudimentary and part of the established propaganda in the UFO community, which had worked, which was part of the mythology, you know, the anal probing and the abduction, and we are evil grays with the evil agenda. So all of that programming, which they had programmed the community and attacked people and ruined a lot of lives, they're using the same thing with this projected hologram. And they did it a number of times. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that the technology existed. I was not able to discern between the real and the fake. And I didn't know that there were these psychotronic weapons where you could beam a voice across a distance at a point location. 13 years ago, and now we're coming into the realization that this stuff exists, that this stuff happens, right? And this technology has been around. But some of the attack, they were quite, it was quite confusing, it was disturbing, and it gave me, it conflicted with my genuine experience. And it bothered me, and I told my Stelan friends, and they looked into it. And at some point, they took back that technology because that technology was given to them under certain conditions, this holographic technology. And I was also told that it had been used on a number of other people. So they had been using it for disinformation, to scare people, to torture people, to psychological attacks, to ruin lives, to confuse people. So you just imagine, if they plug in an image of a Pleiadian and beam it into your house, and it accompanies a voice, I'm a Pleiadian, I am from the Pleiades, and give it a nice little voice. Behold, I bring love. And you're like, oh, please, help me. So this is in the beginning. That technology, I understand, was requisitioned, was taken back because it was unfair. And if they could interrupt my life, having genuine experience, other people had no chance. So that's one, okay? So this is one. We'll try to cover as much ground as we can in a video. So they had been doing this for a while. The other two is you have the MILAB, the military abductions, where these operatives coming in back-engineered craft would visit a house would drug, they would gas the target. And when the target was in a drug-induced state, they would program them. They would tell them what to be in life. They would say, we're evil aliens. We're here for your genetic material. We have no genetic material. We need your genetic material. That's why we're here. They would anally rape them. They would torture them. They would tell them what to be in life. When you wake up, you want to be famous, right? When you wake up, you want drugs. You want to be a prostitute. And this is a very perverse form of mind control and manipulation. So the person wakes up. You're not going to remember this when you wake up. And then in more advanced cases, the MyLab would come and they would implant memory implants. So that your memories would be altered temporarily. You would have different belief systems. You might change your religion. You might change your career until those memory implants wore off. And I've discussed memory implants. You can find the videos for that. In other cases, what was the other case? The genetic manipulation. They would implant, they would take you onto a ship or to a base. They would genetically modify. They would implant sequences of Pleiadian fake DNA that they engineered. They would implant that, and that DNA would then take root in your own system to some extent, coupled with memory implants, and then you start to think, I am Pleiadian blooded. This is very advanced stuff. And only people, you need to do your work, you need to do your own debriefing, you need to do your own memory recall, think back to visits, and think back to memories, think back if at any point in time you were adjusted. This is MyLab. It wouldn't happen once. It happened a couple of times or a few times. Periodically they visit. The subject might be able to overcome the implants, might be able to overcome the programming, and then they will come again. They'll torture you, they'll rape you, they'll just ruin you. And there's a lot of psychological attacks. So that's two. Now they can say there's you're the Pleiadian, you're an Orion, you hate the Lyrans, you're an, they can say anything they want, okay? Anything. When you're drugged and you got psychological experts, they can turn you into a pumpkin and you will be happy with it. In a lot of cases, when your internal programming conflicts with the new programming, you could go crazy. You can go into addiction. You can go into depression. Your life can be ruined very, very easily. So they can tell you, right? They can tell you you're a Pleiadian, you're an Arcturian. We are from any planet. They can say anything they want. That's two. Three, we've talked about that, right? Three, a magician, even if you don't believe in magic, a magician can alter their shape in the astral realm. And they can present themselves as an alien. So it's a magician, a human, who's learned magic, who can present themselves as an alien. And at one point I was attacked by a magician. Well, many points I was attacked by magicians. But one funny story of the many, there was a magician, well, I didn't know. I was visited by it's like a lizard alien. A big, like a like a Komodo dragon type lizard alien. And this lizard alien says something, I am Grog. I am an evil alien. And they use a particular voice. And of course, I was still in that early phase. And it's like, well, this is not a holographic projection. This is something else. So when I inquired, when I looked into it, I discovered, with the help of my Stelan friends, that this was an attack from a magician. They later, some other friends of mine told me that the magician is a high-level U.S. politician who had practiced black magic or was in a secret society. So magicians, this is one small example. There are multiple examples. Please understand that magicians can very easily do this. So they can come into your dreams. They can come in, they meet you in the astral realm, in your thoughts, and they can present themselves as an alien, but they're not aliens. Okay? They can even, some of them can even guide you to certain books, to certain people, to certain relationships. And you will think, these are my, alien friends. They're not. So a lot of that has been going on. So you have a person who interacts with these Stelans, and then you have these other interferences, these fake aliens. We're just trying to cover as much ground as we can. To give you an idea, my philosophy is, in the beginning, I didn't have this information. In fact, I didn't even know that there was such thing as a fake alien. And that put me at a disadvantage. I had no defense. I didn't know that there were magicians. That put me at a disadvantage. I had no defense. So my philosophy is, if you have this information, even you don't fully believe it or understand it, you have an edge. You have some defense. You have the ability to say, maybe this is not what it seems. Maybe everything I've told is not true. You have this discernment. Discernment is very important. And when early on someone told me, one of the most important things you should learn, Paris, is discernment. How to discern from what is true and what is not true. And that person, almost on my very beginning, that person told me that. I didn't understand the importance of it, but it is extremely important. And that discernment is up to you. I mean, I cannot see every situation. And, a psychological operative will change words and situations to suit you. If you believe in biblical stuff, they'll talk in biblical language. If you believe in airy-fairy stuff, and New Age, they'll talk in that. If you believe in yoga, they'll talk in that. So, discernment. Now, another kind of magician is, we've talked about this before, that, star beings incarnate as human beings. And they can affect change in the world. Because as a star being, you're limited how much you can alter or influence the world. But if you incarnate as a human, you have more latitude. But there are problems, because you have memory problems, you have life problems, and you have to deal with the problems, the challenges of a human life. Now, we've talked about star beings incarnating as human form, but dark Stelans, right? Bad aliens incarnate as humans, and they become magicians. They have a natural ability for magic, for manipulating energy, for telepathy, for astral travel. And they can become very powerful magicians, because their soul is an ET soul. is dark. It's an ET soul. So they're more powerful than the other magicians. And they can present themselves as a fake alien, right? They themselves are alien, and they can present themselves. They can mask, wear a costume, change their appearance, and say, I am this, and create a new narrative. Now, you see how many things we have going on? We need to be able to distinguish between the fake and the real. We need to be very careful. We need to be able to discern, because we're coming at a point where we're going to have more interaction with advanced cultures, more knowledge coming in, and you want to know where it's coming from, who has control of it. So along the way, the Cabal has been engineering aliens, right? They've created their own alien races using the genetic material of aliens. In some of the agreements, the Cabal was given alien DNA. And they've experimented on alien bodies, captured bodies, dead bodies, shot down craft, captured ETs, POWs. They've kept star beings as POWs, experimented, interrogated, studied them, forced them to help, and give them knowledge and technology. So over the decades, they've created their own genetic material for aliens. And some of this they put into women, in embryos, in children. And so they've created their own hybrid species to some extent. That's in public. In secret, they also have non-human engineered aliens. Now, if they want to control the narrative, this is what the discussion is really about. They bring these engineered, human-engineered aliens flying in a back-engineered spaceship. All of it classified, top secret. They fly in, they land, and these aliens come out, but they are fake. That is one of the scenarios that is on the table. Because they control, once they do that, and people cannot discern, people are not aware what's been really going on. People are not aware of the back-engineered ships, very advanced. People are not aware that they've engineered aliens that look alien. Some of them are very dangerous. Some of them look human, hybrids. People aren't aware of that, right? And people aren't aware that they have memory implants. They've been programmed. When these aliens come, the memory implant may be activated, and all of a sudden you say, I know my purpose in life. I know my purpose in life. It's to help these aliens. But they're fake, and the memory implants are fake. You see how it is? They've been doing this for decades. They know what they're doing. They have multiple plans, backup systems, that they're going to cover as much of the ground as possible. So everywhere you look, you're going to reinforce their narrative. And so we have to be careful. We have to be able to discern between the truth and the lie, between the deception and the genuine, the real. And it will not be easy, okay? It will not be easy. And I'm speaking for many years of experience and interaction with star beings, right? And we won't have the ability to go to the Pleiades and to look for the aliens. And I'll share with you a little story. This is a true story. And it kind of illustrates some of the things, some of the challenges you have It's kind of a funny story. When I was younger, I was in martial arts, and in the Lower Mainland in British Columbia, in the martial arts, there was an association of the kung fu practitioners, the teachers. They all formed an association so that everybody in the association is qualified. We've done the check. We've checked their backgrounds. We know they're qualified to teach, and then they can recommend one another. Now, this new guy comes in, opens up a school. He says it's Kung Fu. It's a new form of Kung Fu. And he's getting a lot of students. And he's charging a lot of money. And it's completely against what the other teachers are teaching. So, at one point, the association sends a couple of people to do a background check on this person, this Kung Fu teacher who's got a very popular school. And people love it. And they're charging a lot of money for Kung Fu, the secrets. So they go to the guy and says, well, we'd like to find out who was your teacher. He says, well, my teacher was so-and-so. Is your teacher still alive? Can we meet your teacher? Can we talk to your teacher? Well, my teacher's dead. Okay. Well, did you train a lot of time? In the past, they trained at a temple. They say, well, what temple did your teacher teach at? And he says, well, such and such temple. He says, well, can we go to the temple? Can we go to the temple? Can we find somebody from the temple that can confirm that the teacher was there and that you were a student? He says, well, the temple burned down and everybody died. So you see how this is kind of silly. So I said, well, the temple must be in a village or near a village. Can we go to the village to confirm that there was a temple, that then we can confirm that there was a teacher, and then we can validate that you're qualified to teach Kung Fu, Gong Fu. He said, well, the village burned down, right? The village, the temple burned down, the village burned down, my teacher's dead. He says, is there a city near the village? That burned down. So, and the moral of the story, there was no way to confirm anything that this person was saying or teaching. And as you can see by the story, this person made the whole thing up. And their qualification, there was no way to qualify this person. It's the same thing with the Pleiadians, right? We have no ability to go to the Pleiades, to find this imaginary planet, to find the ninth dimension. We can't go to the ninth dimension because we don't have the technology. We don't have the ship to go to that place. We don't even know where it is. And they don't want to talk to us. They don't want us to go there. By the time we get the technology to go to the Pleiades, to the ninth dimension, it's going to be 100 years. And by then we'll have been completely brainwashed by these unqualified morons. And this is the situation. Be discerning. Ask questions. There are many ways to deceive you. Many of them are more advanced. There are more advanced ways, which I won't get into. There are too many things going on for us to cover in depth. And I try to give you a broad overview so that you have some defense, some mechanism to say, wait a minute. Now, again, I'm a person who believes in star beings, that there are Stelans. There are many kinds of Stelans, human-looking ones. There are, insect-looking ones. I've seen short, blue-skinned men with white hair. Short, blue skin, very nice people. There are tall ones. I've interacted with them. I've touched them. I've been on their ships. This is a verifiable. I've seen their ships with my naked eye. This is not an hallucination. Which again, the operatives will say, "Well, he's crazy. There's no proof. There's no evidence." But that age is ending. That, you know, pretty soon this stuff's going to come out. So I've seen and interacted with real star beings, real Stelans. And I know that there are fake ones. And I sometimes have a challenge to discern. And the attacks they used to do on me in the beginning, they don't do anymore because it doesn't work on me. But they use other attacks. They use more advanced attacks. So it's always a challenge. There's always a more advanced method of deception. So we have to be careful to discern, to be able to distinguish between a real alien and a fake alien as the process of disclosure speeds up, as new information is released, as these people come forward and they send their operatives to create disinformation, you know, to create, to say that, you know, this guy's a skeptic and this guy's a believer and this guy worships, you know. We're going to get all kinds of weird stuff. And since you can't explain everything, my goal is to say, be discerning. Don't be skeptical. Don't reject everything. Never get to the point where you reject everything. That's another technique. Don't be angry. See who's real. See who's not real. See who gets attacked. See who doesn't get attacked. A Stelan, let's say finally, before my battery dies, a Stelan, what is a Stelan? A Stelan would never ask you to attack anybody. A true Stelan would never ask you to attack anybody. A Stelan would never attack you. A Stelan would never attack you. A Stelan will never tell you what you should do. A Stelan will never tell you what you should be in life. Now, a Stelan may help you understand something. A Stelan may point you in the direction, but the decision is yours. A Stelan will not decide for you. A genuine Stelan, right? They will never say attack somebody. They never say hate somebody. They will never attack you. They will never attack somebody. So that's one of the baselines. They will never want to be glorified. They will never say, write a book about me. They will never say that. They will never say, you must open a website about us to tell the world about us. They will never do that. They don't need that. There are too many other things they do that they don't need that. In my case, I had genuine experiences and I wrote about it. They didn't tell me to write about it. There was no protocol. There was no let's glorify. I told it as it is, and it's not always flattering, neither to me nor to anything I write about. They never told me, you know, they don't tell you things. They don't give you all the information. They point you in the right direction. They nudge you. It's a teaching method, right? The teacher teaches without teaching. So the human ego tells you, do this, do that. You need to do this. You need to write that. Those people are bad. Those people, you know, that's the ego. That's not Stelan. That is a human. That is human ego. So the more ego you find, the more they're fake. And the more egolessness, the less ego, they're more genuine Stelan.